Hi everyone, welcome. The video that I shot yesterday included me attempting to put my glove on gracefully. And I had a heck of a time with it, and I even had to cut the filming yesterday because it went so poorly. And the glove had a bunch of holes in the fingertips. After I would take it off, I'd have castings all over my fingers. So that glove has been retired. It's always so easy to put a brand new glove on. So we're going to be checking in on my outdoor worm bin. Not even a bin, I refer to it as my outdoor worm bag, because what I'm using as the container is a couple of these fabric grow bags nested within each other. And the whole thing is rigged within an old trash pail, propped up to keep it up off the ground, keep any sort of little critters cruising the ground looking for an easy meal. The whole idea is to prevent them from being able to sneak in here and raid the worm colony, as I've had happen in the past, which is the only reason I'm doing this. Otherwise, I never even would have thought to expect little predatory creatures, moles or shrews or who knows what, was tunneling through my outdoor worm bag system. And I don't even know what that was. Probably the version 2. Every time I've rebuilt and restarted my outdoor system, I've given it a new version number, kind of like software. So this is what I'm referring now to, version 4, the 4th incarnation of my outdoor worm bag or worm composting system. Let's see, the foods that I've got here are a whole bunch of things that my mom sent home with me yesterday when I went to dinner over there. And I even did sort of a major feeding down in my wormery yesterday, but I still felt like I had a good bit of stuff that I wanted to do away with and not store in the freezer. So we've got all kinds of stuff here. I think I even remember questioning my mom what this was, but she was kind of in a hurry. Didn't provide a response. I think it's one of those sort of soup vegetables that soaks and stews in the soup, and then you remove it before you start serving up the soup. So it's great for broth and flavor. It's just not the texture that you would normally want to eat. You might recognize what this is. Pizza crust, some potato peels, and other various things. I believe that's cauliflower. So it's a nice assortment of different things. The stuff they got last time we were in here, it was more or less a bunch of this stuff right here. These are the seeds that fall off the maple trees in my yard, and I was able to scoop up a good bit of this stuff. And it's not really easily distinguishable from leaves and stuff, you know, because it is basically a leaf for the most part. It's just this little part of it on the end that has the seed in it. They're kind of cool too. When they fall off the tree, they spin. Most people have seen them, but if you haven't, they're kind of interesting. So the feeding didn't really consist of anything other than that. I thought it might be an interesting feeding because, like I said, each of those has a seed in it, and the seeds to me seems like a real nourishing meal. So even though it didn't seem like a juicy, savory type of meal that you and I would consider, oh, let's set that aside. So yeah, I mean, not conventional feeding in terms of what you and I consider to be a good meal, but to me it seemed like an interesting combination of the leafy part, which would be more or less bedding, but the seed itself seeming to be a really highly nutritious actual food item for them to enjoy. And it was just being delivered in a really simple package, and it was very easy for me to scoop a bunch of it up off the ground. And I see a whole bunch of it up on the trees still too, so I'm sure I've got a good bit of it that's going to come down in the future. So if this stuff works well in here, and it seems to be working, we'll have plenty on hand if we want to use more. So back to this. This was a hard-boiled egg that was, I guess, just sat around in the refrigerator a bit too long. I didn't really trust that it would still be good. So it came into the worm bin a couple feedings ago, and I did try to leave it intact. And I also attempted not to puncture it until I got it out here. And at that point, I punctured the two ends of it just to give worms access to get inside if they want. And then we placed it into the worm bin here. And when we bumped into it during the last feeding, I don't recall any sort of a foul smell, although I think I remember a little bit of a stench emitted by it the moment that I pierced the shell before initially placing it into here. But it's certainly not that bad. Coincidentally, only a couple days later, I was enjoying a dozen eggs that a friend of mine who's got chickens gave me. So they're cool. They got all different colors, they're different sizes. And to my surprise, one of them was even spoiled. And you don't get that with store-bought. You know, they take the store-bought eggs and they run those things through an x-ray or whatever. A machine rejects them automatically. You don't even have humans evaluating the product. It's all automated. So the chance of getting a spoiled egg in a store-bought dozen of eggs is fairly rare, I think. But I guess when you're dealing with homegrown eggs, there's always that chance, and I just wasn't, you know, prepared for it. So when it happened, boy oh boy was I taken aback by that smell. It was something else. So I just thought I'd share. So now my idea was just to drop food in. I assumed that a lot of this stuff that we provided them with last time would still be in here in the form of the leafy part, or at least probably for the most part still intact, because I'm assuming that they're going to see it as mostly bedding. Once the seed starts to peek out of the little container that it's in over there, they'll see those as little bits of food too that they can take advantage of. But it seems to me like what went in last time was mainly a bedding type feeding, so it did seem like a nice thing to bring them a nice wide variety of all kinds of stuff other than bedding. Just potato peel, some sort of soup veggies, even a pizza pie crust. I gotta find out from my mom what this is. Whatever it is, it provides some awesome flavor for soup. I know that for sure because I've tasted the finished product. And, well, you know, sometimes I even bring grit up here from my wormery. I'll go downstairs and I'll grab some of my pulverized eggshell to throw in to go hand in hand with the feeding, since worms do sometimes need a little bit of grit to help with the digestion process. This time I figured, you know what, there's an entire egg in there. If they want egg, they can get it themselves. I'm just kidding. I'm more than happy to pulverize eggshell and share it with all my wormies. I've always got a good supply of it down in the basement. And I've bought up little care packages of pulverized eggshell and dropped it in here with some of my past feedings, so I know there's grit in here already anyway. But I think we're pretty much done here. We gave them what was allotted. Hopefully they appreciate it. It's a little bit more of a substantial meal than they got last time. So maybe next time we check in, maybe we'll actually see some worms still hanging out in some of those bits of food, especially that one large object, whatever that was. I got a feeling that thing's going to stick around for a while, and I got a feeling the worms are really going to enjoy that. So that's it for checking in with my outdoor worm bag version 4.0. I believe 86 days of age at this point, and hasn't really had a great number of feedings. I believe this might have been feeding 7, you know, so it's a fairly young bin at this point still, or bag. Keep calling it a bin, but I try to distinguish it from my bins downstairs in my basement and call it a bag because it is a bag. So that's that. All right, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please, before you go, don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.